Have you ever wondered why some of the most powerful countries in the world are saying, "No more Americans"? Today, we're uncovering the surprising reasons behind a growing trend: Americans being expelled or restricted in record numbers from 10 powerful nations. Stay tuned. Number 1 will absolutely shock you. As globalization continues to evolve, the world seems more connected than ever. But in recent years, several nations have tightened their grip on immigration policies, and Americans are finding themselves in the crosshairs. From complex visa restrictions to outright expulsions, these decisions are shaped by politics, security, and even cultural clashes. In today's countdown, we'll explore 10 powerful countries that are kicking out Americans at unprecedented rates. We'll reveal the reasons behind these actions, the numbers that back them up, and what this means for international relations.
Number 10.
China, the world's most populous nation, has increasingly tightened its visa policies for Americans over recent years. The Chinese government has expelled numerous Americans, citing espionage, improper conduct, and alleged security threats. U.S. journalists have faced significant barriers, including revoked accreditations and deportations. Political tensions between the two nations, particularly over trade disputes and Taiwan, have escalated restrictions for foreign nationals. Academic exchanges have dwindled, with American scholars frequently denied entry or expelled. Strict surveillance policies make living in China challenging for expatriates, including Americans. Chinese authorities argue these measures are necessary to preserve national sovereignty. Critics, however, view these actions as retaliation against U.S. policies perceived as antagonistic. The situation has strained diplomatic relations, with limited dialogue to resolve these issues. Despite this, China remains a vital economic partner, leaving many wondering how the future of U.S.-China relations will unfold.
Number 9.
Russia has become increasingly unwelcoming to Americans amid heightened political tensions. The Kremlin has expelled U.S. diplomats, accusing them of meddling in domestic affairs. American NGOs and journalists have faced harassment, with many forced to leave the country. Russia's restrictive visa policies for Americans reflect a broader cooling of U.S.-Russia relations. The Ukraine conflict has exacerbated the divide, with Moscow accusing Washington of fueling the crisis. Cybersecurity disputes have also led to mutual distrust between the two nations. American students and workers report abrupt visa cancellations, disrupting their lives significantly. Russia's government justifies these measures as protecting national interests against perceived external threats. Meanwhile, Americans living in Russia have expressed concern over growing anti-Western sentiment. This trend underscores the deepening rift, leaving little room for reconciliation in the near future.
Number 8.
India, a rapidly growing global power, has introduced stricter visa regulations impacting American residents and visitors. The country's Make in India campaign prioritizes local talent, limiting work opportunities for foreigners, including Americans. Many Americans have been deported for overstaying visas or failing to comply with immigration laws. Cultural misunderstandings and complaints about perceived Western arrogance have fueled local discontent. India's focus on self-reliance under Prime Minister Modi has reshaped its approach to foreign workers. Security concerns have also led to tightened scrutiny of Americans involved in NGOs or media. Tourism from the U.S. has faced challenges, with stricter checks at entry points. Experts argue that India's growing economic confidence is behind these restrictive measures. Despite these issues, the U.S. remains a key partner in trade and defense collaborations. However, these visa changes hint at India's broader ambition to assert itself as an independent global player.
Number 7.
Saudi Arabia's conservative policies and strict religious laws have increasingly clashed with Western lifestyles, including those of Americans. The kingdom has expelled numerous Americans for violations of Islamic laws, ranging from public conduct to perceived moral offenses. Cultural differences often lead to misunderstandings, resulting in deportations and restrictions. American companies operating in Saudi Arabia face tighter regulations and scrutiny over their employees. Political rifts, particularly over human rights issues, have strained U.S.-Saudi relations. Social media activity critical of Saudi policies has led to the expulsion of several American residents. Despite being a key ally in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia's actions highlight a shift towards safeguarding cultural values. Americans working in the kingdom report growing unease about navigating the complex legal and social landscape. The Saudi government defends its stance as necessary to maintain national integrity. However, these measures have raised questions about the kingdom's willingness to adapt to globalization. Number 6. Turkey has seen a marked increase in restrictions against Americans in recent years, reflecting its shifting political landscape. Americans have been deported on charges of espionage, political activism, or visa violations. The country's deteriorating relationship with NATO has exacerbated tensions with the U.S. Journalists and NGO workers from America have been particularly targeted by Turkish authorities. Security concerns following attempted coups have led to stricter visa policies and surveillance. Turkey accuses the U.S. of supporting opposition movements within its borders, further straining relations. The government's nationalistic rhetoric has fostered growing mistrust of Westerners, including Americans. Americans living in Turkey have reported difficulties integrating due to cultural and political differences. Experts warn that Turkey's actions could isolate the country from Western allies. However, Turkey justifies these moves as vital for maintaining internal security and sovereignty.
Number 5.
North Korea has long been one of the most hostile nations toward Americans, with strict bans on U.S. citizens entering the country. Those found in violation of local laws face harsh penalties, including detention or deportation. The U.S. State Department advises against all travel to North Korea due to the risk of arbitrary arrests. Americans who lived or worked in North Korea under special programs have reported sudden expulsions. Pyongyang justifies these actions as a defense against perceived threats from Western countries. The lack of diplomatic relations between the two nations leaves Americans vulnerable during disputes. North Korea's authoritarian government views Americans as symbolic adversaries, intensifying hostility. The country's propaganda often portrays the U.S. in a negative light, further fueling anti-American sentiment. Even humanitarian workers from the U.S. face obstacles in contributing to relief efforts. Despite the tensions, North Korea remains a focal point in global geopolitics due to its nuclear ambitions.
Number 4.
Myanmar has become increasingly unwelcoming to Americans due to its volatile political situation and rising anti-Western sentiment. Following the military coup in 2021, the government has accused many foreign nationals, including Americans, of supporting opposition movements. American journalists and NGO workers have faced expulsions for alleged interference in domestic affairs. The U.S. government's sanctions and vocal criticism of the military regime have fueled distrust between the two nations. Americans living in Myanmar often report strict surveillance and frequent questioning by authorities. Visa policies have become more restrictive, limiting long-term stays for expatriates. The military junta justifies these measures as necessary to protect national security and sovereignty. Humanitarian aid workers from the U.S. have also been targeted, with accusations of political bias. Despite these challenges, Myanmar's rich cultural heritage and natural beauty continue to attract some international visitors. However, the growing hostility leaves little room for Americans to safely integrate into the country.
Number 3.
Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, has seen a rise in deportations and restrictions targeting Americans. The Nigerian government cites visa violations, unauthorized activities, and security threats as reasons for expelling foreign nationals, including Americans. Political tensions over U.S. criticism of Nigeria's handling of human rights issues have strained bilateral relations. Americans working in Nigeria's oil sector often face scrutiny due to economic and environmental concerns. NGOs and media personnel from the U.S. have been accused of spreading misinformation, leading to deportations. The government has implemented stricter visa policies and residency rules for foreign nationals. Rising anti-Western sentiment among some segments of the population adds another layer of difficulty for Americans. Security concerns, such as kidnappings and insurgency threats, further complicate the situation. Nigeria defends these measures as essential for maintaining order and sovereignty. Despite these issues, the U.S. remains a key trade partner and ally in combating terrorism in the region.
Number 2.
Germany, often regarded as a beacon of democracy in Europe, has recently tightened restrictions on Americans for specific reasons. While Germany is generally welcoming, the rise of disputes over U.S. policies, especially in environmental and trade sectors, has created tensions. American expatriates have faced stricter residency requirements, with visa applications now scrutinized more intensely. The German government has expressed concerns over certain U.S.-based companies and their influence, which indirectly impacts Americans living there. Cultural misunderstandings, especially concerning privacy laws and work ethics, have led to conflicts in workplaces and communities. Some Americans have reported challenges in integrating into Germany's structured society, particularly in learning the language and adhering to local norms. Germany has deported individuals involved in illegal activities or those violating immigration laws more frequently in recent years. These measures reflect Germany's emphasis on maintaining social harmony and upholding its immigration policies. Despite these issues, Germany continues to attract Americans due to its economic opportunities and cultural appeal. However, navigating the complex rules requires patience and adaptability.
Number 1.
The United Kingdom, historically a close ally of the U.S., has seen an uptick in deportations and restrictions against Americans due to post-Brexit immigration policies. The UK government has implemented stricter visa regulations, requiring Americans to meet more rigorous standards for work and residency. Americans overstaying their visas or engaging in unauthorized employment face immediate deportation. Rising anti-immigration sentiment, amplified by Brexit, has led to harsher scrutiny of all foreign nationals, including Americans. The cost of living and housing crises in the UK have also pushed local authorities to prioritize citizens over expatriates. Americans working in sectors like media or NGOs have occasionally been accused of overstepping their bounds in sensitive political issues. Cultural differences in areas such as healthcare expectations and workplace norms have created friction. The UK justifies these actions as part of a broader effort to regain control of its borders and enforce stricter immigration policies. Nevertheless, the US and UK maintain a strong diplomatic relationship, and many Americans continue to seek opportunities in Britain despite the challenges. As we've seen today, the reasons for these restrictions are as varied as the countries themselves. Politics, culture, security, and economics all play a role. But what does this mean for the future of global mobility? Are we witnessing the end of open borders for Americans, or just a temporary shift? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening content.